people, before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe. What we'll be covering in this video is if statements and nested if statements. I'll start off by giving you an explanation of the concept and then go about showing you how to go about using if statements in Java, where I'll be doing the code. So within the code, I'll start off with the basic uses of if statements and then coding out a solution to reducing traffic using if statements. So guys, please, in order for you to grasp the most out of this video, please watch till the end. Okay, enough with the intro and let's just do this. So we'll begin by opening up our favorite coding editor, which is Paint. So how I thought about explaining if statements is by preparing these two images for you. Right, so first and foremost, if statements are just a check if a certain condition is true or not. So given this picture on the right, let's have this in our imagination that we're in a world where trees can talk, right? So you are this red car. You want directions to certain destination, right? You happen to ask this tree, like you want direction to a certain destination. This tree tells you that, okay, go straight. When you get to a T junction, turn right. So now with an if statement, you would say that when a car gets there in the T junction, okay, if I turn right, then I would have taken the right instruction, or I would have taken the right path, should I rather say, right? But now if I turn left, then I would have been getting lost because that was not what I've been instructed to do, right? So, well, on the picture on the left, this is just a UML diagram explaining if statements, just going about saying that the program starts here and then it comes here and checks if A is true, it will take this path, go to B, and then end the program, right? But now here on another condition, it would come here and state if A is false, it will take this path, go to execute what's on C, and then end the program. So in this scenario of taking direction, it will say that A, if I turn right, that's true because that was the instruction I was given. So that's true. Execute what's on B and then end the program. But if I turn left, right, that's false because I'm not following the right instruction. Then execute what's on C and then end the program. So now let's move on to our IDE, which is Eclipse, and go about doing the code actually of the concept. Right, so we'll begin by opening or creating a new Java project, and then we'll just say if state, okay, if statements, right, okay, if state okay, if state is just if statements, just okay, we'll come here, right click, new class, and then we'll call this main, right? And we'll click on our public static void main, and then our program is set up, right? So we'll first check if this program can actually run. We'll just say hello. We'll not print out the whole hello, we'll just hello to just see if this works. Okay, hello gets printed, sorted. Okay, so now to begin with, right, we'll just start off with like if statements, right? So in this check, we'll check if we'll have an age, and then we'll check if it's equal to a certain value, right? We'll check if it's equal to a certain value or whether it's greater than a certain value or moving forth, right? So now with an if statement, so we'll have a certain value, and in this instance will be my age, which is 2 years old, right? And then now with an if statement would say that if my age, we're checking if my age is equal to 2, right? If my age is equals to 2, so with that check you'll need to put in 2 equal sign, right? And then if these two are equal, then this would be true, right? So this should execute this line, right? You are that old. I will just pass in just random printouts on that screen, right? So to execute, and then now it would print out to the user that you are that age, right? Meaning that I'm 2 years old, right? But now if I had to change that to 3 and then do an execute, it wouldn't execute anything, right? So another thing, let me just move to 2, right? Go back to 2. Say that you've got like 2 conditions. You just want to check if your age is 2. If not, just execute something else, right? So, and then you would do put in this keyword, which is an else, which will then say if the first condition is not true, then just execute the next condition, right? So now here it would just say you gave the wrong age. Yeah, hence I said, like, I'm just printing out, just giving out random prints on the screen, right? So now in this instance it would say you are that age because 2 is equal to 2. But now if I had to change that, it would have to print out that you are not that age, because now it says that if this condition is not true, just execute the other conditions that are just false, right? So now if this condition is true, execute that, but else just execute anything that will say that the condition that we tested first is false, right? But now we can also have multiple, like, just if checks, right, on just one statement, right? So how we'd go about doing this is just saying if, right, age is equal to 2, right, and then we'll say that, and then we'll say system you are equal, right? And then we'll just have another one that says else if, right, my age is greater than 2, right? And then that will just say system out, it will print out you are older, right? All right, and then else if, okay, let me just have an else if, right? Else if age is less than 2, then we'll say system out, sys out, you are younger than that, right? And then in this instance, right, if we run that, it would say that, okay, you have given the wrong age because these two are not true, so it would execute this line, right? And in this instance, it would check that if age, so if 3 is equal to 2, then it will execute this. In this instance, now 3 is greater than 2, meaning that I'm older than that, right? So if my age was 1, and then I go about executing that again, it would say that, okay, you gave the wrong age, right? And then it would say that you are younger than, meaning that because 1 is less than 2, right? So we would say that this is not equal. Let's check this. Is 1 greater than 2? No, so I can't execute that. But now is 1 less than 2? Then yes, I can just execute that. So that's how it works. So it takes top down execution. Oh, I don't know how to. I didn't. What I thought is not what I said. So how your program executes, it starts from the top. Okay, moving downwards. So yeah, with that being said, so now let's just, before we go about doing a solution of solving like traffic using if statements, I would want to explain a concept or something called modulus. So with modulus, it's just saying that when you have a division, like when you divide a number. Okay, let me just open a calculator to just explain that. So with modulus, it just says that if I divide two numbers, for instance, if I say 2 divided by 3, right? It's just checking the remainder, right? So now if 2 is divided by 3 and then there is this remainder, right? If there is a remainder, that would conclude that 2 is not a multiple of 3. I don't know if I said that correctly. So with modulus, it will check if a certain number is divided by each other. It just checks the remainder if it's 0 or greater than 0. So in a case whereby you'd want to check if a certain number is an even number or an odd number, right? You would then say, if for instance, if you want to check if number is even, right? If it's an even number, right? So you'll say the number, right? So how you go about saying, you'd say the number and then you'll mod that number by 2 if you want to check if it's an even number, because even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, etc, etc, etc. So now what you would check from this is that the remainder should equal to 0, because if 2 divided by 2, that's just 1, remainder 0, meaning that that number is actually even, right? So now if a number divided by 2 has a remainder, that will conclude that that number is not an even number. So how we'll do that programmatically is we'll have an integer, right? We'll just store our number. Let's say it's 4. That's 4, our number, right? We'll have an if statement saying that if num, which is our number, modulus, you use that percentage sign, mod 2. Okay, if that's equal to 0, then we'll have a printout that's saying that this is an even number. This is an even number. Else, then if it's not an even number, then it must be an odd number, right? So sys out, and then that would say odd, because your odd numbers are 1, it's 1, 3, 5, etc, etc. So if we go about executing that, we'll see that this is an even number, hence 4 is an even number. So if I just had to make that 3, right, we'll see that that's an odd number, right? We can even go to a calculator to prove that. So 3 divided by 2, there is a remainder, so that can't be an even number. But now 4 divided by 2, there is no remainder, so meaning that it's an even number. So now let's go about coming up with a solution to reducing traffic. Reducing traffic. So now with this solution, let's just tap into our imagination again, right? Let's just imagine we're in a country that just said, okay, our solution to traffic would first start off by reducing the number of people whom we are allowed to drive on our streets, right? So now then this country says, let's implement a law that states that if a person's age is an even number, then that person is allowed to drive. But now if a person's age is an odd number, right, then that person is not allowed to drive, right? So if the age equals to an even, okay, you can drive. You can drive. If the age equals to an odd number, then you cannot drive. Right? But now it shouldn't end there. It shouldn't end there because now a person's age can be an even number, but we should also have strict laws that we still have to comply to a minimum age that we state that you're only allowed to drive when you've got like maybe your age is at meets the minimum requirement, which is, we'll just state that as 18. So even if a person's age is an even number, but if they are younger than 18, they just still cannot drive. So here it would say that if age is even but you are younger than 18, then you cannot drive. Right. So these are just the conditions on solving traffic using if statements. So let's just go about removing that. So if you wanna check it out, you can just rewind back, or just start the video all over again, and then you'll see that code up there that I just deleted. So how to go about starting the solution is, okay, we'll have a variable of type integer which will store the age, right? We'll start off with an age of 6, right? And then our program would have to check if my age is an even number. So how we'll go about doing that is saying if, right, with an if check, if my age modulus 2 equals to 0. Remember, I said that modulus is just the remainder, right? So now if my age divided by 2 and then there's a remainder 0, that means that's even, right? So that my age is even. So I know that I can just log that and just print that and saying that my age is even, right? My age is even. Else, right? Else then my age, your age is just odd. Okay, age is odd. So my age is just an odd number. Right. So now I still want to check if, okay, so now this would state that if my age is even, then I can drive. But now if my age is even but you're younger than 18, then you cannot drive. Okay, let's just start off by executing this. Then it says that my age is even. But now we want to check if my age is even, but I'm still younger than 18. Then that should print out that you still cannot drive because, like, you are younger than 18, right? So we'll need a nested if statement. So a nested if statement is just an if statement inside another if statement. So when the first condition is true, we'll come in here and say if your age is less than 18, right? If your age is less than 18, then we'll print out that your age is even, but you still cannot drive. You can't drive because of the minimum, but you still don't meet the minimum requirement. That's just a long one. You still don't meet the minimum requirement, right? Else else, right? Else, I can just have that there, copy that line, come here, do that. You are allowed. You are allowed to drive. So now this would say that you're just allowed to drive, right? And then we'll have just okay, let's just first execute that. Let's first execute that and say, okay, your age is even, right? Your age is even, right? You meet that condition, but now you're younger than 18, meaning that your age is even, but you still don't meet the minimum requirements. Okay, if I were to change my age to 20 years old, right? That would say that my age is even and you are allowed to drive. So in an instance whereby I've got an odd number, which is like 5 is an odd number, that would say your age is an odd number. Therefore, you can't drive. There. System out. Therefore, you can not drive. So if I had to execute that, it would say therefore you cannot drive. But now adding to this program, say that now the program says that, okay, but if the person's age is an odd number, but now they meet the minimum requirement to be able to drive, then just print out to them, just tell them that for this year you can't drive, but you meet the minimum requirements. So in that instance, you'll come here saying that if their age is odd, but if their age is greater than 18, right? If their age is greater than 18, that would say system out. You are okay. That would say you meet the minimum requirements, but you will drive next year. Okay, no. Yeah, but you will drive next year. Else, okay, else, this would just say you are not allowed to drive. Because now that would still say you're not allowed to drive because firstly, your age is an odd number, and then secondly, you just don't meet the minimum requirements. So let's just remove that. So in this instance, we'll say that you are not allowed to drive because this person is 5 years old and then 5 is less than 18, so it would come here and say that you are not allowed to drive. So now I'll say that you were 19 years old, right? And go about executing that. This would say that your age is odd. Well, you meet the minimum requirement, but you will drive next year. Because now the rules of this country states that only people who are allowed to drive are those whom their age is even number. Yeah, so with all that being said, that's just how you go about using if statements. Obviously, there are more complex ways or complex conditions which you can check, right? For instance, if you want to see if if you want to check if this statement, right, for this instance, if that's false, you'll use that. So this would say that if your age is greater than 18, but now you only want to go into this execute this part only if that's false. I know it's a bit confusing. So this would first say, okay, this would first say, is your age greater than 18? If yes, that's true. But now I'm just saying that I only want to go into this when that's false, right? So in this instance, it would say that you are not allowed to drive because now your age is greater than 18, but I don't want to execute this line when that's true. I only want to execute it when that's false. So say I change this to 5 now, right? Now we would say that you meet the minimum requirements, but you will drive next year because now my age, right? Listen to this. Is not, my age is not greater than 18. But now this not equal sign makes that true, meaning that this will not execute this line. Yeah, so there are complicated ways, but you can also check that out. Yeah, but now with all that being said, please like, share, and subscribe. Peace.